Hey, everybody. Hope you're doing great this afternoon. Welcome to Trail Talk. I'm Edie, and we are live in our classroom studio again today. I kind of thought we'd have some decent new backgrounds for you guys. So anyway, welcome to Trail Talk. This is my guest today, Matt Byerly. And Matt, you are the let me get this, Director of Operations, is that correct, at the Stevens County, do you call it the Whole Fair and Expo Center?
Yes, ma'am.
That's a very long name. I've got this little brochure. So, Fair and Expo Center, that's the whole deal right there. And so Matt has agreed to come out here today and share some of the things they have going on out there, and prepare to be amazed, y'all. He just told me something that blew my mind. So why don't you just say, how booked up are you guys for this year?
We're booked with big events, and this is not counting the smaller events that go on that we kind of say is our easy events. But as far as big events that draw numbers of people, we are booked every weekend through the end of the year. And some of them events will take up a lot more than a weekend. It'll go a week at a time. So the only weekend I have available for the rest of 2022 will be Christmas, and I will not book.
And so don't even try. You're going to have to go for next year if you missed getting in there. I am blown away that you guys are that busy out there. That is so phenomenal.
It's a very busy place.
That is. So how long have you been in this position?
I've worked for Stevens County for about 24 years. I've been in this position for about 3.5 years.
Okay. So are you from here?
I'm from here. I actually grew up in Comanche.
Okay.
So yeah,
okay.
I'm from Stevens County.
All right.
Kind of know the ropes around here.
Yeah. And you know what? I bet that really has been a benefit for you as far as working out there.
It has helped a lot in this job, knowing people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's a lot of well-known people in this community that I can turn to for help, and it's been a blessing.
That is awesome. So did you participate in events at the fairgrounds when you were a kid?
I was in FFA as a kid and shown some. I was more active in the sports side of it, and that was my big thing, sports. I didn't know much about the fairgrounds and all it had to offer before I had this job. And when I took this job, I took it as to try to make it better.
Right.
You know, so I put, you know, the first year I took this job, you know, kind of felt bad almost because I kind of put my family on the back burner and really run with it and try to build it to where we are right now. And, you know, it's put a lot of time into it, and it's been successful.
So in 3.5 years, what was it like when you took this position over, like as far as bookings and things like that?
Well, it was very overwhelming at times. You know, I'll give you a little bit of background. I work for the county, and there'd be days, you know, I run heavy equipment. There may be days I'd go all day and never talk to nobody. And then I took a job where they don't tell them how many people I talked to during a day, and then, you know, meeting new people. So it was a big shock for me there at the first to just, you know, always knew I kind of had a personality to talk to people and interact, but I never did it. So
saved up all those words, all those years.
I had a lot of stuff saved up, you know, sitting in that equipment all day and nobody to talk to. I had a lot of it built up.
Right.
And now I'm getting to let it out.
That is great. So, okay, so you come into this job now. In those days, when you first took the director position, were all the weekends filled up?
Oh no, we was not nearly as busy as we are now, and And I ain't gonna say that I run out and tried to grab events. What I done is try to work hard for the events that was there, keep things clean, keep our hospitality at a extremely high level, take care of what we had, and then the word got out. You know, hey, you've got a nice, clean facility here, that you've got a guy that's willing to, you know, is very open-minded to try to bring in, you know, something more other than a rodeo. He's, you know, and the word got out and the phone started ringing. And, you know, it was a big shock on the employees there. I was a little more demanding. You know, the workload got higher, because when you take, say you got a rodeo one week that wanted 200 horse stalls up, and then you got where them horse stalls are at, the next week you got somebody wanting that barn. That's a big process to get all that taken down, cleaned up. You've got a week to get ready, week to 4 or 5 days to get ready for a next event coming in. There's a lots of work, and to get prepared for the next week.
Right.
So, you know, I've been very demanding on my employees. They've bought into my system. Got a great group of guys that, you know, bust their tails week in and week out to make this happen, when we can make these turnarounds and keep having events week after week after week.
Right. And well, it sounds like that it's a total group effort, and the fruit is there. I mean, obviously for you guys, I mean, word of mouth, that's the best way to promote whatever it is you're, you know, trying to get word out about. And that's fantastic. What a great, I can't, the only thing I can think of is story of success, you know, and turning something around, because I'm telling you, the fairgrounds are clean and nice. And I mean, when you walk up there, even if there's been a rodeo or something, you don't always have the smells that accompany that whenever you go back out there, you know, for another part, you know, event.
If you have a non-rodeo event, non-livestock event that comes in the week after, you've got to do a lot of work to make it not smell like a horse, or not smell like a cow. You know, you're never going to get rid of all of it, but you've got to do your best to make them people comfortable with everything that they're doing.
Right. So, do you have an education that helped prepare you for this, or did you just have a vision? I mean, I'm kind of curious how you went from operating heavy equipment to this kind of a position, because they seem very different.
Very different, very different. I have nothing but a high school education. And you don't need an education to do this job. You need to be willing to wake up every morning and want to make an impact on the community, and just want to work hard. Just have a drive. Just that, and that's with any job. If you want to wake up every day and go do a good job and work hard and be successful, anybody can be successful. You know, that's what I preach to my guys. You know, you know, your way of life. You know, just to be better is wake up every morning and work hard. And that's the way we look at it. And they've bought into my system, and we've been very successful. So
with all of the increase in events out there, has that allowed you to become a bigger scale employer?
We have added a few positions there. We've found ways to cut and, you know, add some help. We've added a lot of new equipment. So,
and I'm sure in some of those cases, the equipment is what makes the cleanup job
makes it
a lot easier.
Work smarter, not harder.
Right.
Yeah, you know, it's very expensive to run that place out there with utilities and water and, you know, heavy equipment and stuff. It's very expensive to run, but in turn, it is generated back to us with the amount of people we bring to town with the tax. It feeds it back to us.
Right.
It feeds back to the whole county.
Right. Well, that's what whenever you first told me that about having every weekend full, and you mentioned that was just the big arena for that. That doesn't count all the other little things going on during the week. I mean, I was out there last Tuesday night. There was an event. The Kindred community was having an event in the that brick building there on the north side. And I'm sure there are little things like that going on all the time as well. Yeah,
well, I mean, we have everything from weddings to birthday parties, you know, oil field safety meetings. We're very diverse. You know, our biggest draw is livestock shows.
Yeah.
You know, we've got so much space under roof. And in Stevens County, a lot of people don't realize that I've got the capability in livestock pens to house more animals under roof. Small animal pens under roof. The only other person that can house more in the state of Oklahoma is the Fairgrounds in Oklahoma City.
Oklahoma City.
People don't realize how big that facility is to really pull the parking lot and drive around.
Yeah.
And that's a big draw.
For sure. I showed livestock when I was a kid, and you know, man, we'd go to Oklahoma City and be like, wow, these barns, this place is huge. And so for you to say that this is bigger than even the Tulsa.
They may have more barns, but they don't have the pens. You know, the pens, when you're having a show, you can't just come in and turn your animals loose.
Right, you got to have a little pen for them.
You know, that's a big draw for us. And we can, and you know, our barns, you go to a lot of these fairgrounds around the state, not that they're not nice, but you know, like our big arena is air conditioned.
Yes.
That keeps my summer events coming. All my barns are heated. That keeps my winter events coming. So, you know, with climate control, you draw a lot of people.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody wants to be uncomfortable.
So, what are some of your, well, I didn't finish what I was saying. Okay. Well, I was just so blown away by how much revenue and then in turn tax money is brought into the city of Duncan and surrounding communities by you being able to have all of these events here. I mean, that is the tourism. That's what it was. It's the tourism money that's generated. I mean, that is huge for this area.
It's very big.
Yeah. So, does the city have anything to do with that?
No, it's all county.
It's all county property.
0.25% sales tax funds. So it's like I tell people, you know, it all generates back to us.
Right. Yeah, you're helping yourself keep it fit.
And that's it. Just, you know, money's a big circle anyway, so it all feeds back to us. So you got to keep it going. You know, keeps the restaurants in business, the hotels in business. You know, there's a lot of people that come to some of these events. You know, the husbands may be participants, but the wives tag along because they've got their favorite shop in Duncan that they go to. There's a lot of people that visit this place out here. True.
Yeah, we always have some rodeo or stock show people who come out here, and or probably other people too. I'm just not thinking of who it is, but the regular, because some of these events have been going on for years.
Yes. And that's what we like, repeat customers, because we know what they want before they ever get here. You know, we know what they expect, and it's great when they rebook for the next year. We already know what we're going to have to do. It just makes it easier on us that we're not on the phone seeing what they're wanting and their needs. We already know.
Right.
We know that event's coming. We know what, and then there's times when you may have a little gap in this barn that's going to use 2 weeks out. My guys can jump on that and we can be ahead of the game. You know, they've all got a plan. We work together.
And so like, I don't know the names of the buildings, but there's the one that's on the north and then on the east where like we went to, there was a band playing in there one time that we went to. So like all those tables and all the chairs, all those things belong to the fairgrounds. That's a lot of, I'll just call it inventory of things that you have to keep up with.
I've probably got around 600 tables. We keep about 1,500 chairs.
Wow.
Maybe close to 2,000. If we get in a bind, we can pull, you know, some older stuff, you know, to make do. But yeah, just like having Duncan graduation in there last year, we put about 3,300 people in that building. And you know,
I forgot that you had graduation out there last year. Do you think that's something that will continue to happen? I mean, honestly, it was. It is it. Yeah. I think that is great. As a parent who had to sit on pins and needles every time my kids were graduating, are we going to be inside or outside? Inside or outside? Oh, you know, well, it's been raining a lot, but we're hoping the field will dry out so the chair legs don't sink down. It, you know, I mean, that is a lot of pressure off of everyone.
It's a lot of pressure off people knowing that you're going to that place. It may not be as nice and smell just as good as that football field and graduating on that football field, but more than likely it's going to rain that night anyway. Right. You're going to have to go in the auditorium, and then you're going to have to cut back on your, you know, your mom and dad can go in, but your grandparents are not. So we kind of eliminated all that by having it up there. Is it perfect? No, but it's the best for what the school had to work with.
Right. Well, and I mean, the fact that you guys had an open weekend last year. Well, I guess it's a Thursday.
It happens in the middle of the week, and then that's a big deal.
Oh, yeah.
We got I can remember by looking at the calendar, I think I've got one day to turn around for the GOP that comes in. It's a really big event. So,
oh, yeah.
You know, my gosh, sometimes we have to work through the night to make a turnaround for the next day. So, you never know.
Yeah. Man, what a busy place. So now that you've kind of got things rolling and everyone's in on it with you, are you able to give a little bit more time back to the family?
Oh, yeah. I've learned where I need to be and where I don't need to be, and where I don't have to be. People that's not so demanding, I don't have to be up there every weekend. And now that my guys have bought into it, the employees, and they know more about the events and stuff, we're able to rotate weekends and space it all out where we've all got more time at home.
Good. So how the pandemic hit you? Was that pretty rough?
That presented a problem for a while, but I was ready to fire back up. You know, they shut us down for 3 or 4 months there, best I remember. And, you know, we'd done the split shift where we kept people working. We got a lot of cleanup done. We got a lot of maintenance done.
Sounds like what we did around here.
We was able to get a lot of stuff done that we couldn't get done having events. So in a way it helped me, but we pretty much lost a year and it got real confusing because people, when we did open back up, was wanting to have a show that it got canceled. So I was trying to plug them in, and it got hairy for a while.
Oh yeah.
We're kind of back to normal now. Everybody's got back on their same date that they like. You know, you got people that's really strict on that date they got to have, and it presents some problems. That's probably the hardest part of the job, is keeping them dates straight. You know, sometimes January, they go by weekends.
Yeah.
I want the second weekend, third weekend, and it gets really tough when one year January's got 4 weekends and one year January's got 5 weekends. It gets, you know, you kind of got to boot somebody out, or you got to go to February. And they don't understand looking at a calendar.
Yeah. I can see where that would really
present some problems.
Yeah.
And you don't want to make nobody mad. You got to keep them happy. You got to find them. You got to find them.
Yeah. So, what are some of the long standing? I'm thinking the big hog sale Is that still an event out there?
That's everybody's go-to, and that was the big thing that everybody heard about that happened at the fairgrounds when I came. Hey, you know, this, if you can make it through this, you can make it through anything, you know. But them are great people that come from way off that come here, and they've been coming for 20, I think that was like 23 years, 24 years. They've been coming here. A lot of them's the same people, so they kind of had their system. They knew what to expect when they got here. It, you know, other than just a lot of people and a lot of animals, it wasn't a whole lot of trouble. But since I've been in there's been some events come in that's, you know, not the number of people, but it's brought a lot of money to the community. You know, you got the ABBI, American Bucking Bulls Incorporated. Right. They do 3 events, and then they grabbed the 4th one when they grabbed that Thanksgiving day. But you know, they bring a lot of people to town, a lot of wealthy people. They come here and spend a lot of money, stay in the town for a few days, so they're great. You know, one thing that we added this year that's a little different is you've probably seen it on TV. It's a horse event, but it's different from our Western that, you know, everything caters to rodeo or something like that, roping. This is, you've probably seen it on TV, like the jumping horses.
Oh, you know, kind of like the Olympic.
More of an English style, you know, not the Western style. Right. You know, where they jump and do a pattern and everything. They're going to, actually, all the horses will be trucked in, and then all the contestants fly in. So they rented, I forgot how many, they rented several hotel rooms, and they will compete here for about 3 days. Wow. And that's something that I know nothing about. You know, I can get through a rodeo living in Stevens County my whole life. We've seen a lot of rodeos. You know what to expect there, but this is coming in, gosh, let me get my date straight here. I believe it is March 11th and 12th and 13th. It's when they'll be here. And I'm excited. Just something new, you know. Yeah.
Oh, I hope that gets a lot of response from the area. You know, that's really something.
So for people to see.
Right.
It's different than what I can almost bet there's never been one of them in Oklahoma.
Probably not. Probably not.
It's not something that I reached out and found. They had heard about the facility and how nice and clean it was. And they could have had it anywhere in the United States, and they chose Duncan, Oklahoma.
So is it like an organization? Like I mentioned the Olympics, you know, that's a big Olympic event. Is it like are they professionals or are they amateurs?
Yes, they're professionals, and they travel all over the United States and do this. And they haul their horses, and these people don't drive. They fly to each place.
So is it a competition or is it an exhibition?
It is a competition, and this is actually their final competition. So it's where they're all competing for the final.
Like purse or whatever, like we'd call it in a rodeo, we'd call it the purse, but I don't know what they would call it. Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty exciting.
So that was exciting that they chose Duncan.
Yeah. Yeah. And we were talking earlier, was that this year? Was that in January when they had the wrestling?
Yes.
Yeah, there was midget wrestling out there. I saw where some people
there was a lot of people that attended.
Yeah, so that's a little bit unusual event, I'm guessing, but there probably are people who follow. You mentioned earlier that some of your events, there's a following. There's people who are just naturally attending these events, but then there are some that people are just like this, the horse event you just mentioned, that's something maybe new people, will watch.
You got your stock shows and you got your rodeos, but I try to keep it diverse and offer something different with the circuses, with the wrestling, with the whatever car shows. I got a big car show coming in, the bucking bulls. It's kind of a big variety there. And it just shows you that, you know, that facility can handle about anything you throw at it. If you'll give me a month or two and I can,
right.
I can get my brain to working and I can figure out a place to have what you want.
So what's been like the biggest challenge for you as far as preparing for an event?
It's tough. They're all a challenge in a way. I would say preparing for an event is not the biggest challenge. It's maybe more so dealing with so many different kinds of people.
Right.
That's been the biggest challenge for me. You know, I work with, you know, say the big sheep show that comes in. Them, and even some of the hog people. Them people don't have the Southern Oklahoma hospitality that we're used to.
Right.
They're
right.
really dry. Great people.
Right.
But they're really dry. They're very to the point. It's not call them up on the phone and chit chat and have a conversation and joke and stuff. They call you, I want this, bone, and hang up. You're like, ooh, okay. So you got to kind of go overboard with setting up their event to make sure they're pleased, you know.
Because you're not sure until you get to know them a little bit.
Until you really meet them face to face, and some of them are that way face to face. It's just, and it's just not that they're rude or bad people or anything. They're just from a different part of the country than we are.
It's a cultural thing. I mean, it's just
like
a different culture.
Like with the sheep deal, you know, some of them people are from South Africa that fly in here.
Oh, really?
They hadn't got to come. Last year they didn't get to come because of the flight restrictions and stuff. And I think they're still in limbo if they're going to get to come this year. But you know, you might try to happen to cipher out something with somebody that's very, very broken English or speaks another language. Right. You know. Right. So
they have an accent that it's a lot easier to talk face to face to someone than it is on the phone.
That presents my biggest challenge is getting what people want.
Yeah, I can see that, especially as diverse, you know, as it is, being able to make those adjustments every time it's a completely different.
And I take it very personal. I want it to be the best experience they've ever had. I don't want them to have to lift a finger. I want everything ready when they get here. So I worry about it, you know, and you know, sweat and a little sleep over it until I kind of get through it.
Right. Well, that's the reason it's so successful, though, Matt. I mean, seriously. You gotta be dedicated. Yeah. 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 You can't go out there and halfway do it. You know, you won't last long. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Very committed. So is there a board that you answer to? Is there my boss is the county commissioners. Okay. You know, and man, they're great. They're all three very supportive of it. They elect, out of the three, they elect one to be over the fairgrounds. And that makes it a little easier because I just got one to answer to. And right now, Russell Morgan, he's over the fairgrounds, and man, he's very supportive, very, very involved with me. I mean, he stops by 2 or 3 times a week. Hey, how's things going? You know, is anything you need and stuff like that. So he's a great help. So do you have to have approval from the commissioners for things that you do out there? If I book an event and you know they sign a contract, then that contract goes to the courthouse and gets approved by the commissioners before it ever happens. Right. Okay. So they just a little background for everybody to kind of understand. They've got their hand in it. You know, and then that helps me too. It takes a lot of liability off. Right. Right. You know, for sure. It's a group effort. So there's a lot of contract writing then that goes into this as well. Every event that happens out there has to be contracted. Wow. You know, there's stipulations. So much money is paid up front. You know, there's process. Wow. So do you have like a legal person who's kind of overseeing some of that stuff for you?
We have an attorney,
Yeah.
Jenny has an attorney.
Uh-huh.
If we need something changed in the contract, or if, you deal with that many people, something's gonna go haywire every once in a while, I've got somebody to go to.
Yeah. Yeah, I hadn't even thought about all of that part of it.
And then
You got a big job.
You get some headaches.
Yeah, I can imagine. So of all the things happening this year, besides the one that you were just telling us about, what's that one called? The horse event?
The jumping horse. Jumping
horse?
Yeah, that's what they call it.
Okay. Besides that one, what are a couple of other ones that you're kind of excited about for this year?
We do, the Heart of Oklahoma Youth Rodeo, they do 5 events a year. And man, they bring a lot of people to town. I kind of look at it as filling the parking lot up. If I fill that parking lot up, we've done our job.
Right.
We brought people to Duncan. We kept the money going in a circle. They book 5 events a year. And when they come, they bring a lot of kids. It's based around the kids. They'll usually have about 1,100 entries, maybe close to 1,200 entries that they run in 2 days. Sometimes they run online.
Wow.
That's a lot. There'll be lots of big pickups and horse trailers in that parking lot.
Oh yeah, for sure. Wow. And they have 5 events here.
Yes.
Every year. My goodness.
They grab 5 of my weekends.
And okay, so like there are concessions out there. Are those run by groups or by the fairgrounds? How
concessions are they're kind of going away.
Really?
And which is kind of a good thing, because concessions are a lot of work.
Yeah.
And they're a big headache. Somebody coming in trying to put on an event, their focus is out in that arena or wherever. They really don't want to focus on the concession part of it. So something that's helped us a lot is all the food trucks in Duncan.
We hear you. When we have events, we like to have the food truckers around here.
When I first took this job, they'd be like, hey, Matt, can you find us somebody to run the concession? Well, I had a group of cheerleaders. I had a church youth group that I was chasing down. No, I can't do it this way. I can't do it this week. I can't do it this week. So it's kind of put me in a bind trying to find people. Now it's made it so much easier. I've got a list of the food trucks here in Duncan. I kind of go through the list. I try to space it out. I call it, hey, this event's need a food truck. If they can't come, I jump to the next one.
Right.
And sometimes it's hard to get them, but that's made it so much easier.
Oh, I bet. Well, a full parking lot is where they want to be. So I bet some of them know your calendar. Yeah. And they're waiting for you to give them a call. They're waiting for their
and some of the events that happened, they've had better luck with some than others, and they speak for certain ones.
Yeah.
Come do it that way.
Different groups want different kinds of food, so
and I usually try. I want 2 trucks, and I don't want 2 hamburger trucks. I want one that's got tacos and one that serves,
barbecue or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
They want to try to give people an option.
Yeah. Wow. That's a lot of stuff.
That's a lot.
That's a whole lot. That is so impressive, though. So where would people go to look at your schedule of events for the year and find out? How can we find out?
You can probably find a little bit out on our Facebook page, Stevens County Fair and Expo, or you can go to our website. It's StevensCountyFairandExpo.com.
Okay, well, those are both easy.
You can find a calendar on there with a list of events.
We'll put those in the comments on this as well, so people can find it easily. And we have brochures here at the Heritage Center. We have this one that Matt got to see for the first time today. Somebody printed it out. Yeah, somebody did. So is that not?
No, that's the old.
That's the old one. Okay, so this one's a little bit
But most of the
outdated.
information is correct now.
Okay, and like you mentioned people having birthday parties, things like that. This is in the Visit Duncan brochure that we have here, and it's under the We Are Style. And this looks like it's about rentals of different rooms. And because even if an event is going on, a big event, people can still rent other buildings.
You know, we kind of
rooms.
know with what event we're having, how much parking we're going to have left. And we kind of space it out. We know if we've got a couple of rooms rented, hey, you know, they might have a band in there or something. It's like, hey, we can't have this family reunion next door because, you know, it gets, you know, so we kind of know, and the secretaries know that what goes together and what don't.
So if people were interested, they would just contact the Fairgrounds.
Absolutely.
Okay, that's pretty easy
We can meet about any need.
All right, I love it so much, Matt. Thank you very much for being on Trail Talk today. I am so excited about what the Fairgrounds is doing. I mean, I've seen a lot of cars there, you know, but it's like when you go past the Fairgrounds in Oklahoma City. There's always trailers or cars or something out there. And I just love it that here in Duncan, a much smaller community, that we're able to host so many different kinds of events and large events, you know, and thank you for all the work you put in these past few years and just really bringing our Fairgrounds up to where it is today.
Thank you.
Do you have any like goals or any dreams for anything out there that you haven't been able to?
Oh yeah, you know, I've got dreams of expanding. Whether it happens, I don't know, you know, and being a sports minded guy, and my kids are into sports, maybe someday we'll have a sporting event.
Hey, that'd be fun. That'd be awfully cool. Host something. Do they have just a little league wrestling or anything out there before?
As a matter of fact, in their book for next year, they messed around and didn't grab a date this year. And I was all booked up, but you know, the little guys wrestling from here in Duncan, they had a tournament there, and I think they pushed
All City or whatever they call it. Do they still call it?
Well,
that?
it was just an open tournament that they had last
Okay.
year. And, you know, they run 3 different barns and had mats and all them barns. And they said the kids really loved it, a lot more space than all being crammed into a gym. They said it worked great for them.
But they didn't get their weekend. Well, I bet they'll be.
They called.
They're already called.
In December, I believe, of this year.
Awesome. Well, listen, be sure you take your time off. I can't imagine having something booked every single weekend, but I love it so much. So listen, if you have a chance to go out and support our Fairgrounds, go and do it, because I think it's quite the venue.
We'll have something to offer.
Yes, exactly.
I'll
check the calendar. There's bound to be at least one weekend of events that you're going to want to go check out. Oh, that's awesome. Well, Matt, whenever we say goodbye on Trail Talk, we like to say happy trails. So you mind signing off with me? Yeah, let's tell them happy trails.